the telephone. I can't see my honey, but he's mine alright. This gal just can't leave a man alone. Every single morning you will hear me yell. Hey, Central picks me up along the line. They connect me with my honey and I ring that bell. And this is what I say to baby mine. Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal. Send me a kiss by night. Baby, my heart's on fire. If you refuse me, honey, you'll lose me. Then you'll be left alone. Baby, telephone and tell me I'm your own.
Back in 2018, I bought Red Dead Redemption 2 on release on the PS4. What? Wait a minute. Oh, it's up here. I completed the game and sank countless hours in the open world. And then years later to 2021, I recently found that there was a VR mod for this game made by Luke Ross. And if you don't know me, which is probably a lot of you, I am a big fan of virtual reality. So I bought Red Dead again on Steam and installed the mod and played away. And this is not just the tech demo. I played and recorded the whole game from beginning to end in VR, and I am totally convinced that Red Dead Redemption 2 in VR is the correct way to play Red Dead Redemption 2. When strapped in the VR headset, the strangest feeling comes across you. Like everything is so familiar but also so foreign. Like I know this is Valentine and I traveled down this trail hundreds of times, but this perspective change is just something different. You feel that you somehow tron your way straight into New Hanover. And while the 2D version of the game will probably make you feel like a badass gunslinger, the VR version in the early parts of the game at least makes you feel like a little bitch. The popping of gunfire scaring you, flinching while you see punches actually come to your face, coming across predator animals, the dark. Everything just gives you the uneasiest feeling, and that's just the game trying to be the game. But when Red Dead tries to be scary, this game should be in the goddamn horror section on Steam. And it's not scary as in hoo-ha, jump scare scary, but VR plays perfectly on the mystery of the unknown. Your head is always on a swivel because you keep giving yourself the feeling that something is watching you. I had to check. So you can tell immersion is one of the biggest selling points to Red Dead VR, and hell, it's the selling point for VR in general. But this change to VR is just so much more than a perspective change, and I'll explain more during this video. But this mod doesn't do everything to maximize immersion, and a lot of it has to do with the changes of your own settings and your own playstyles. So let me just explain the changes that I've made that I believe gave me the best experience.
Woohoo! I am so happy about this information.
For the settings, the biggest one is no minimap. This to me is non-negotiable. Minimaps in my opinion ruin all open world games, but you can get an exception in the missions because Red Dead missions are very specific. But if you feel like you're lost in a mission, just a quick press down on the D-pad will show your map for a brief second. And next in the settings is to turn off auto aim so you have to aim yourself. And then turn off dynamic kill cams to stay in first person as much as possible. And lastly for the settings is to turn the brightness down more on the darker end. Why do this? Because it makes shadows and especially the night actually dark rather than just blue tinted daytime. It makes the map more beautiful and realistic. There's a bigger light difference from dark to light, so when you step outside the sunlight kind of pierces your eyes, and you now have an actual use for the lantern because the dark is now actually dark. It's kind of dark. Oh shit. Oh shit. Enemies can now even hide in the night, giving you more adversity. But the most changes are actually in your playstyle. I always use iron sights on every gun, I never used Deadeye, never looted any enemies or enemy camps, and money I got from main mission stories I would just donate to the camp and not buy anything with it. I would only keep the money that I felt like I earned properly in the open world, like bounties, animal pelts, and other illegal activities like the wagon fence. The main missions give you way too much money, and when you're not constantly rich, you get a lot of cool moments and more immersion, like when I bought a gun and I was only left with less than $1, and I realized I had no food and my cores were low. So surviving on assorted biscuits, I went on hunts, turned in bounties just to raise some money just to feed myself. And you can not only get something like that, but now the story actually makes sense now with needing money.
What are we doing next, Dutch? We just need money.
Money isn't an issue.
Hello, Bozo.
And keep in mind, this is all completely customizable to your liking. You want to use the minimap in Deadeye? Go for it. I mean, Deadeye is fucking badass in VR too. And hell, you can even play third-person VR for all I care. But why I did all of these settings and playstyle changes is because the base game is far too easy. This is all my attempt to try and make Red Dead actually challenging, because I want to feel like a gunslinger in the late 1800s, not billionaire RoboCop. But now that we're on the same page, let's talk about the game. And what this does is it reinvents the game into something completely different, making you approach things with more thought. Such as bandit camps, where on the base 2D version of the game, you could just walk up and do this. It now turns into a full-on gunfight where you actually have to aim. And also with the rule of no minimap, I task myself to only open the full map when I'm either in camp or in towns. And this makes me have to plot out where I want to go in advance, follow road signs, and use the binoculars to find out where I am whenever I get lost. And oh boy, trust me, you will get lost. And if any of you guys tried this, I know your finger will be itching for that minimap button, but please try and fight it, because the outcome of this is just so worth it. Just this little move just got me so connected with the game world, where I even found and named my own landmarks. There's Three Finger Rock, Penis Head Mountain, and the Lemon Tree. And these are all landmarks I remembered and used just to get around. And with the help of the VR headset, I was able to spot and use these landmarks from miles away. And this method might seem like torture because I've gotten lost a lot, but you do get better at traversing the map, and like I said, it's just so worth it because I've had some of my favorite moments in this game just traversing the map like this. And with all the moments I've had, I'm always brought back to the one time I was near the east side of the map. I was new to the east side of the map and didn't fully know my way around yet. I just sold some pelts to the trapper here and wanted to make my way to Rhodes, where the camp was located, to do a mission. And this part of the map is really hard to traverse. There's a lot of trees and a lot of hills for you to get lost in. And while bumbling around, I came across Butcher's Creek, which next to it had a river, and in that river was a canoe. And my instant thought was that the river would lead towards the ocean, like all rivers do. So if I followed the river downstream, it would lead me to the coast, and then I could find my way to Rhodes. So I got in the boat and started rowing, heading downstream. And just this, what would seem like a simple act, rowing a boat, became such a moment to me. And that's what this mod does. It creates moments. And if you think all this was just me rowing down a river, I'm sorry, because just in this little trip, I had a shootout while on the boat. I had to endure the rapids. I rode through a beaver dam. I rode while it got dark. And when I reached the swamps, I rode through gator-infested waters. And all of this, keep in mind, is not scripted. This was all totally unique to happen because I chose to row down this river. And how is all this possible? It's because this game is a goddamn masterpiece. And all for it to end short because I couldn't fit my fat head under this bridge. Fucking piece of shit game. And I know it might be hard to convey this through a 2D screen, but the VR headset made this one of the most beautiful moments I've ever had in gaming. And with my boat stuck here, I just sat there on the bridge, just reflecting on what I just went through, and coming to terms that it was over. My voyage was done. And oh my god, my boat is still moving! Ah, come on. Come on! Come on! I'm back, baby! I was now able to row past Saint Denis all the way to the ocean where I can get a closer look at the big ships out in the water. And that's when I reached the end of the map and my boat sank. But I was fine with it because to me, that was a good ending. Red Dead, I'm sorry about what I said to you. Let me just fix that. Oh yeah, I was trying to get to Rhodes. Where the hell am I? But really, this world at multiple times just left me absolutely speechless. The map is just so beautiful in VR, and after spending countless hours in the wilderness, when you first get into Saint Denis, I actually felt like I was looking at one of the wonders of the world. My mind was just so blown at all the detail. Also, while walking through at night, the beacon of light emitting from the theater caught my eye. It was hard to miss, and I had to get closer and buy a ticket and just look at all of the detail. I was just never able to appreciate any of this when not in VR, and the shows are actually fun now. I sat and watched the whole thing. Hello my honey, hello my right time gal. Send me your kiss by wire. Baby, my heart's on fire. This shit's a banger. Now let's reel back and talk about the aiming, because this may be off-putting to some people. The aiming is done with your head, and if that sounds weird, that's because it is. Aiming with your head does feel unnatural, but it ended up giving me a new challenge for me to learn and master. Because in the beginning of the game, I felt like I couldn't hit dick. And I noticed Red Dead's iron sights looked a bit off, like it's kinda aiming slightly up in the air. So to figure out the aiming, I had to find out where the aiming point is located on the gun. Because it could be here because the gun is kinda pointed up in the air, or it could be here because that's the top of the gun, or the aiming point can be here if you're supposed to use the back end of the sight as you would a real gun. And this was important for me to know because with all my settings changes, I made the game harder, and with Red Dead needing pinpoint accuracy, especially for hunting, I really needed to figure out how to aim properly. So after I struggled to clear out a bandit camp, I stood by and practiced my aim on some bottles lying around the camp. And in doing so, I realized I was doing the same thing you see in all the Wild West movies. I was practicing my aim on the bottles. I felt so immersed because I had to practice something. You don't start this game out as an epic gunslinger, you kinda start out as a dumb hick with a gun. But with hard work, you can progress your own skills so you can be a feared outlaw. In the first couple of chapters, my aim was doggy-doo, but as I continued throughout the game, I was hitting nutty shit like taking out 4 guys off of a quick draw with no dead-eye slow-mo, or like this scenario at the end of the game. And this kind of aiming is such a clever solution to give the headset a use. It's universally challenging because nobody ever aims with their head, other than maybe attack helicopter pilots. But speaking of iron sights, which the aiming point is here by the way, in VR you get such an appreciation of each gun variant, where like upgraded iron sights actually mean something now, other than more accuracy? What? But you finally get your own preferences and things that actually matter now. Instead of guns just being completely cosmetic and still being a dot in the middle of the screen, they're up front and center where almost all the components matter. Like having a black gun is cool, but it's hard to aim at night, so you better have a nickel-plated gun at hand, and it's vice versa in the snow. And gold guns, well that's just an abomination to firearms. Please, can we just leave the gold guns back in 2011 where it belongs?
Yo, stop protecting your cousin, yo. Just keep on measuring his wee-wee, yo.
But the guns being in 3D right next to your face, you notice so much more than even first person on a screen. Like the reload animations, you just pick up on so much of the detail to the point where I've even looked at my own gun and noticed it was dirty rather than having the stupid pop-up reminding you to clean your weapons. Everyone knows that the attention to detail Rockstar has put into Red Dead 2 is like every dev took a whole month's prescription of Adderall at once and washed it down with the Rockstar energy. Get it? And in VR, you quickly find that playing in the 2D version is almost an insult to the countless work hours that the developers must have put in this game. There's times where I think Red Dead is designed for VR, like this carving note in the drawer which kinda made me shit my pants, or this time I set up camp and got held up with a gun pointing directly at my face when I thought I was safe. This definitely made me shit my pants. Or just little things, like when you look at a treasure map, you can just look up to see if you're in the right spot without putting the map away. It's just so cool. This game shows you so much at the start and plays with your emotions, sadness, anger, disgust. Like reading a letter of how a mother left a note informing her 2 kids she's leaving to retrieve stolen goods and that she'll be back soon, to just turn around and find her 2 kids dead from starvation on the floor because the mother never came back. She probably died. Or in this mission to take down the Braithwaite, seeing Dutch drag this defenseless old woman out of her house while we burn it to the ground, to then come back and find that she just walked back into her burning house. I've played through this mission several times, and yes, she's an evil old bag who probably deserves it, but seeing your actions and the result of it kinda did something to me. Like, the struggle seemed too real, and destroying a beautifully designed house to ash just showed me how destructive the gang really is. And even as something as small as one of my first hunts, my aim was really bad at the time. I aimed up and shot, but I didn't get the one-hit kill. The pronghorn ran behind a bush and I panicked. I started to spray into the bush. I didn't know if I hit it or not, so when I walked up to check, I found... The game doesn't feel like a movie anymore, and you eventually harden. Like, the gore in this game is so horrific, but later I'm trying to blow off legs. I don't get surprised at the skinning of animals, and when in scary situations, you just get ready to fight. But if you think this game is going to turn you to a complete psychopath, there's at least one thing to keep you soft, and that is the characters. Red Dead Redemption 2 has probably got the best cast of supporting characters. I don't know another game with this many side characters that I can name all of them without a second to waste. But in VR, there's something that makes this far more immersive. Rockstar put in so much detail to make every character seem like they're alive. They're given chores to do throughout the day, they comment on your physical appearance, or they talk about something that happened recently. And all of this really helps, but there is one thing that is exclusive to VR, and that's when you go up to chat with them, they make eye contact with you. Okay, I know this is going to make me seem like a guy who's been so deprived of human interaction, he seems like he's been social distancing years before COVID. I'm just ahead of the game, baby, but I'll take it, because go anywhere online or in a book about human interactions and body language,
Bing bong.
and you'll see how important eye contact is. Like, look at this. And then look at this. You see? Bet you notice the power of eye contact now, huh? So when one of these hyper-detailed, brilliantly voice-acted, totally unique characters turn around to look you dead in the eye, the connection and intimacy between you and the character is driven through the roof.
Don't lose sight of him. Come here, quick.
Mind where you go.
Oh shit.
Mind where you
I'm not gonna lie, my heart rate's kinda high because of that.
He'll hear you. You could have cleaned yourself up a bit.
Oh, bitch, shut the fuck up. I mean, I literally had eye contact with a fucking deer while I was fishing, and we had a moment together. If that doesn't show you the power of eye contact, I don't know what will. Also, gentlemen, if you're ever around Karen, avert your gaze. That is a lady you're gawking at. And this goes outside of camp. After you spend hours dicking around the open world and you come back to camp to do a mission, riding into town or just going for a walk with someone is one of the most pleasant things to do in this game. It's because you spend so much of the game alone, and just having a chat with someone just feels so nice. I wish there was a mechanic that you can ask people to come with you in the open world, but that's just something you gotta take up with Rockstar. But this is just so masterfully done that sometimes the feelings are almost indistinguishable from real life. And again, it's embarrassing for me to say, but I'm really serious. The side missions with the veteran who I met on the side of the road, he lost his prosthetic leg and I helped him find it. I actually rolled my eyes at him when he invited me to fish, but getting to know him, I really took a liking to him and actually felt like I've made a friend. And the final time we went hunting, he was thrown from his horse and died in front of me, and my heart ripped in two. Like, Rockstar gave me the feeling of having a new friend and also gave me the feeling of losing one. Or going to Blackwater with Abigail, with her stealing glances at me and the slight awkward laughs, it actually made me feel like I was on a date. And I've played this before, this isn't new to me, but the VR headset just lets these characters come just a bit closer to your heart. Except when this game decides to go into a cutscene. So I have a love-hate relationship with this game's cutscenes in VR. I hate how it rips you out of first person and clicks you around like the cutscene was intended. I'd rather have me stay in first person so the immersion never breaks, but the game wasn't designed like this, so it's easily excusable. But I love how it's implemented into VR. So rather than just throwing up a virtual screen and just playing an MP4 of a cutscene like you see here in the time transition when you sleep, the game actually runs the cutscenes and you act as the camera in the game world, which means everything is visible in a cutscene. You can technically just turn around and look away from the characters. You're now not bound to what the camera is pointing at. You just move where the camera is located and you're free to look at whatever you want, for better or for worse.
Oh, don't worry. You're only ball.
Oh, I did not want to see that. Just take some of the cutscenes with a pinch of salt, because there is some jank here and there which would normally be out of frame.
I'll be him.
Yeah, John. Pussy bitch. Yeah, what the hell? And this way of doing cutscenes does sacrifice the cinematic feel regular framing gives. But there are some scenes where they keep you in the first person mode, and man, there is nothing like it.
That's right. Yeah.
Go with him. Try and help there. I'm better off alone.
We're riding with you.
Come on, then. Yeah. Let's ride.
But really, this game just leaves me absolutely dumbfounded. And with all the characters and details just bringing you closer and closer into the game world, you start to feel like you are your own character in Dutch's gang. And all of this is because of the VR headset. I don't think without it you can get the same feelings at this magnitude. I swear, it just makes me feel like I was actually there. Think I've been on the run for a few months now, and this was the only time for a while where I had a dream when I slept. I don't remember it, but it got me thinking of the past. I miss the old gang. I joined so I didn't have to fight this world alone, but now I feel more alone than even before I met any of them. Would I go back in time to relive it again though? Probably not. The memories I have, they're good. And I just think if I went back, I'd figure some way to mess it up. I just can't shake this feeling. The whole world is breaking in two, and I found myself right at the crack. I don't know. All we wanted was greener pastures, and now all I see is salted, lifeless land ahead of me. I've heard some folks say that they feel that time is slipping away from them. But I feel that my time is just catching up. It just used to be so good then. There was always something to fight for. But it took me till now to learn that if there's no greener pasture ahead of you, it's because you're on it and you're right where you're supposed to be, and someone behind you is trying to push you around. And I think it's time I turn around and push them back.
Oh, fuck!
Son of a bitch. But all of what I talked about, the open world, exploration, combat, game detail, characters, and the story, this is what I think has made Red Dead Redemption 2 so successful. I believe that because Red Dead's base game is so good in these aspects of game design, this is why many people would call this game a masterpiece. But then to have every single category here absolutely enhanced by virtual reality is why I think VR is the correct way to play Red Dead Redemption 2. Which means the 2D way of playing is wrong, so throw out your monitors, you won't be needing them anymore. But in all seriousness, it's all because of a single mod all of this was possible. A mod made by Luke Ross. And if anybody watching is interested of getting the mod, I will link Luke Ross's Patreon in the description. Yes, this is a paid mod, but I do think it's worth it. You get access to all of his other mods, like while I was playing Red Dead, he made mods for the whole Mafia trilogy. But you also get support from Luke Ross himself. Like I messaged him about my poor frame performance and he helped me fix my issue. So it's not just an EA Sports paywall, you get a lot more out of this subscription. But if you do have an issue with the mod, all I ask is really try and solve your problem on your own first. He didn't tell me to say this, he doesn't even know I'm making this video. He's probably a busy guy, I just don't want anyone looking at him like he's tech support. Oh good, my laundry is done. But the Red Dead VR mod is killer to run. I have a 2070 and had terrible frames. And if you have something close to that, you're gonna want to use DLSS. Go to your in-game settings, set DLSS to quality, then go to your mod menu by pressing both triggers, set base window override to 2700 by 2700, set resolution scale to no override, then press resize window to set it, then just lower and tweak these two guys to find your perfect balance of frame rate and image clarity. And if you are getting a lot of crashes, use one of his anti-freeze presets in his mod menu. Also, you must uninstall any recording software you have on your PC. There's something called D3D11 that makes any OBS softwares and the mod fight, and it'll just make your game crash constantly. And if you're asking how I recorded all this footage, I got this, the Elgato 4K 60+, and this just catches and records what goes on the desktop on this SD card. And yes, $400. I don't even have 400 subscribers. This thing also sucks. It's not reliable. I had 2 lemons come to me. This is my 3rd one. It finally worked, but every time I start it up, I still have to unplug and plug it back in because if I don't, this happens to the color. It gets all saturated. Also, the playback from the mod on the desktop looks like this. This is an easy fix, just Steam VR, display, full screen, and make sure your cursor's off the screen and then boom, record. So if you're thinking of making any content for this mod, learn from my pain, be prepared. But all in all, that's it everyone. If you're still watching to the end, thank you, you're the best. Luke, if you're here, thank you for a great mod, and if you feel bad about the Elgato, don't. I do this even though I make no money.
Fool's errands are my favorite kind of work. Fair enough.
This was all just so fun. I'll do it all over again if I could, and I cannot recommend this mod more. And if you like this vid, leave a comment, subscribe if you want to see me more in the future, but hopefully I see you guys in the next video. Bye.
Cruel, cruel, must I go on? Cruel, cruel, I'm moving on. I've been living too fast. I've been living too wrong. Cruel, cruel, I'm gone. I go on? Cruel, cruel world, I'm moving on. I've been living too fast. I've been living too wrong. Cruel, cruel world, I'm gone. Goodbye, old friend. Goodbye.